สวัสดีครับ Hello Hi all the fans worldwide Mabuhay Hola saludo Hi how are you I'm Co again of Facebook page KP1 Worldwide the favorite program of many fans now okay so I come back as I promised tonight with the star okay she is star and a lot of pageant fans in Asia admire her there, admire her confidence, and look up her as a role model for someone who breaks stereotype in pageantry. Okay, so I got a very special guest. She confident, she empowering, she's so inspirational, and she is Emma Loney, Miss Oklahoma Earth 2021. Please give an applause. Welcome her.
Oh, thank you so
Hello,
much for
สวัสดีครับ
having me. Hello,
Yes,
I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you so much for having me.
right. Okay, that's nice indeed. Emma, still, even though you very well known, okay, but still, some who haven't been acclimate with the new mode of beauty standard. So they might not know much about you. Would you mind to tell all the fans how did you get involved with pageantry and what inspired you to compete, and also what your overall perspective about pageantry nowadays? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So I actually started pageantry when I was in high school in smaller systems in the United States. And I quickly realized that I did not look like everybody else.
Mm,
And I had to make the decision if I wanted to change myself and who I was and try to, be like everyone else and fit the stereotype and the beauty standards that were already set forth, or if I was going to embrace who I was and show that you could be confident and beautiful and healthy as a plus size woman. And that is what I decided to do. And I decided to join Miss Earth because I believe the environmental mission of Miss Earth is so important, as well as I felt immediately accepted by the organization, and just really felt like it was a place that I could showcase being a plus size woman in pageantry and being able to bring it to an international level and show people that there's so much more to women than our body size, and that we can be impactful, we can be intelligent, we can be world changers and not have what we have seen as the standard for beauty and beauty pageants. And
mm,
in addition to that, I wanted to be somebody that could make other people feel confident and beautiful when they might not have felt that
mm,
before.
mm. Right. I do admire indeed. What an
Thank you.
attitude. Okay. So, mind you, okay, all the fans, I consult with my honorable guest tonight, Emma, that probably we going to touch on many part of physicality. Okay, so don't take our opinions too personally. All right, because the purpose, the aim of we going to touch on physicality is to promote. Okay, to promote and self love and to share why how we could transform um, still a lot of people perspective toward avant-garde beauty standard, which have been initiated by Emma recently. Okay, and Emma is very comfortable to speak up. Okay, because she now like an epitome of the revolutionary beauty queen. Okay, so she happy. So everyone should be happy. All right. We should learn from her. Okay, how to get ourselves straight with the idea how should we love ourselves in the best possible way. Okay, so all right. First of all, Emma, I would love to know about you always like yourself now since your childhood.
Have I always liked myself,
Yes, I
did you
mean
say?
the size.
So I definitely have struggled in the past. It's not something that I think happens overnight. And I think that's true with whatever body you're in. I think we all have times where we struggle with our confidence or struggle with what we look like. But it's really been a journey of finding myself and learning to love myself for who I am and showing myself every day that being confident in who I am is the most important thing, and that you can have bad days. Every day you're not going to feel amazing about yourself, but it's just a journey of, constantly trying to do your best and speaking positively to yourself and knowing that you have worth in who you are and it's not defined by your size.
Mm, okay, that's good. So you mentioned that you start knowing about pageantry in your high school. So what
Mhm.
kind of pageant or the beauty contest that you participated?
I started competing in a smaller United States based system called National American Miss, and there was no swimsuit in that competition. It was just evening gown. We did like a introduction, so like public speaking, and then interview. And so I didn't really see and experience the swimsuit aspect until I entered the Miss Earth organization. Um, but at the same time, just because there wasn't swimsuit, there was still that standard of what I
Mm,
needed to look like and what a title holder should look like. And, I felt that pressure as soon as I entered pageantry. So
mm,
even though I didn't have the swimsuit part, I always felt different. I always knew I was different, even from way back in high school.
mm, mm. So Um, I do believe that you got to be a very strong lady indeed because you always aware that you're different, but
Hmm.
you chose to take a big challenge.
Yes.
Like, yeah, you go to you go direct, um, in the heart of battlefield.
Yeah. Yes. It's definitely hard.
Yes. So I would love to know, how did you, what made you get yourself different? Where did you get some inspiration from? Even though you know that there's a big barrier, in pageantry, it's like something that institutionalized for a very
Hmm.
long
So there were a few things. I think one was that I had already developed the confidence in myself to know
time.
that I was worth it, without pageantry. And just seeing that gap in pageantry that was, the representation wasn't there.
Mm,
I always wanted to see it. And I decided, you know what, like I'm going to give it a try. Why can't it be me? I believe this is so important and something that we need in pageantry, and we need young girls to see. We
mm,
need people everywhere to see. And
mm,
that, it's so much more than winning the title. It's about showcasing and being the representation that had not
mm,
existed before. And I have the great honor of getting messages from people all around the world, about different ways that I've inspired them. And that's
mm,
truly all I could have ever asked for,
mm,
being plus size and being in pageantry. Because, like you said, it's definitely a big feat and it's really challenging a
mm,
whole institution of
mm,
stereotypes.
mm,
And I think that it is going to do so much good, because being inclusive and having representation is not harmful to the people that, are also competing. It's just going to help showcase a different type of person in pageantry. It's not minimizing anybody else's voice. It's just adding to it and adding more women empowerment. And I believe pageantry is all about women empowerment. So that's why I continued, and it's been a great journey and experience.
Wow. So impressed indeed. So okay, as far as we going, mind you, if I conclude that Miss Earth that you penetrate into top 12, consider you the serious one. I mean the serious
Mhm.
first pageant of your life. Am I
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, really? Because I watched several times, especially today. Okay, I watched your
Oh,
performance on the stage, and you're so confident with your.
thank you.
I couldn't believe that you said that it was your first serious pageantry experience, and
Hmm.
it's nationwide pageant. Okay, so uh, amazing.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
astonishing indeed. Okay, so
Thank
uh,
you.
mind you, I would bring some Thai fans comment to you. Okay, the first one from Kun Kai Makeup. I guess that she is a makeup artist. She say hi to you. Okay,
Hi.
right. And the second one, her name is Kun Vilaipon Sombun. Uh, she said, "Wow." She's one of your fans, okay? And the third one, คุณพีรดาทองนพคุณ okay love from Thailand Emma สวัสดีครับแฟ
Thank you.
นๆคุณเอมม่าน่ารักมากเลยนะแล้วคุณเอมม่าเนี่ยเขาจะมาอินสปายเลยนะก็คือว่าเขาจะมาทัชทุกเรื่องนะก็ถามเขาแล้วเขาไม่มายที่จะมาพูดเรื่อง oversize beauty นะคะนะเพราะเขาบอกเขาเดินสายพูดตลอดเวลา นะแล้วเขาก็อยากจะพูดนะสร้างความเข้าใจยังไงก็แฟนๆส่งคำถามเข้ามาได้นะครับนะเดี๋ยวโก้จะแปลให้นะครับถ้ามีอะไรสงสัยนะคือตอนนี้คุณเอมม่าเอ่อเป็นตัวแทนของรัฐโอคลาโฮมานะครับกำลังประกวด Miss Earth นะซึ่งจะตัดสินกันวันที่8มกราที่จะถึงเนี่ยนะครับนะครั้งล่าสุดเนี่ยคุณเอมม่าผลงานทำได้ดีมากก็คือเป็นตัวแทนรัฐ วิสคอนซินนะครับแล้วก็ได้ที่ได้อยู่ในท็อป12แล้วคุณเอมม่าบอกว่าเป็นครั้งแรกนะคือถ้าใครเห็นเพอร์ฟอร์แมนซ์เนี่ยจะนึกว่าคุณเอมม่าเนี่ยชำนาญมาก่อนใช่ไหมเพราะเดินมั่นใจมากแต่เด็กกี้แกบอกว่าคือแกก็ปวดมาเยอะแต่มันเหมือนแบบประมาณถ้าบ้านเราอะนะคือมันไม่ค่อยเป็นทางการก็คือเป็นอบตเป็นอะไรอย่างเงี้ยถ้าเทียบบ้านเราหรือว่าเป็นดาวมหาลัยอะไรอย่างเงี้ยนะคะก็ไม่ได้ถึงซีเรียสแบบขนาดนั้น ที่ว่าจะต้องมีทุกขั้นตอนตามแบบประกวดนางงามแต่มาซีเรียสก็คือครั้งเนี่ยล่าสุดเนี่ย Miss Earth ที่คุณเอมม่านะครับได้ท็อป12ก็ถือว่าเก่งมากๆนะครับคราวนี้เดี๋ยวก็จะคุยต่อนะคุยทุกเรื่องก็ขอบอกก่อนว่าคุณเอมม่าเนี่ยมาครั้งนี้นะคุณเอมม่าโปรโมทอยู่2เรื่องหลักๆก็คือ body positivity นะคะก็คือเรื่องว่าง่ายอ่ะก็คือว่าสวยในแบบของเรานะคะมั่นใจในแบบของเรา นะแล้วก็เรื่องที่สองก็คือเรื่องกฎหมายเพราะคุณเอมม่าเนี่ยเป็นนักศึกษากฎหมายนะคะเป็นคนที่เรียนเก่งมากนะคุณเอมม่าเนี่ยแล้วก็แกรณรงค์เรื่องกฎหมายด้านสิ่งแวดล้อมการปกกฎหมายเพื่อพิทักษ์เอ่อความศักดิ์สิทธิ์ของสิ่งแวดล้อมนะครับนะเพราะมันเกี่ยวกับ human rights นะอันนี้คุณเอมม่าเนี่ยไปอีกขั้นหนึ่งเลยนะก็ชอบ advocacy คุณเอมม่ามากนะถึงเชิญแกมานะมันไม่ใช่เรื่องแค่ body positivity นะคะของคุณเอมม่า อ่ะเดี๋ยวเรามาคุยกันต่อนะคะมีคำถามอะไรถามได้นะโอเค so I just explained okay about how you going and so far Miss Earth is your series national
Yes.
pageant the
Yes.
first
Thank you.
okay right so a little bit just went back as I told you before you look so professional about your work you're so
Oh,
confident
thank you.
you're so confident indeed. Okay, when I went back watching of your last performance in Miss Earth. So how did you get yourself prepared? You went to the official training course, or how you get yourself prepared, especially stage performance?
I actually just do a lot of practicing at home by myself. I also model, so that's given me opportunities to practice my walk and get a walk down that's good for me. And being plus size, my walk is a little bit different than somebody else's. So really just finding what works for me and what looks good for me is definitely something I work on
Mm,
all the time.
mm,
I've worked with a few people that have helped me over the years, but I really think it just comes down to practicing at home
mm.
by myself, back and forth in the kitchen and the living room.
Wow. Okay. So, all right. In Thailand, even though we have some plus size model as well, but I can say you okay in the mainstream, we rarely see it. Okay, we rarely see
Okay.
it. Plus size model. So,
Hmm.
might you elaborate a little bit about plus size model? And what kind you normally model or represent um, the commodity, and would you find some challenge to do it as a profession?
So I, as a plus size model, have just seen the demand for plus size models in the United States skyrocket.
Mm,
It's really been a huge thing in the United States.
mm,
And every company, every brand has plus size models. So that
mm,
was another factor for me wanting to compete because I saw that representation in modeling. And plus size models were everywhere. You walk into every store, there's some photo or mannequin of a plus size model.
mm,
And I said, well, if the modeling industry can take in plus size women, pageantry should as well. So I've been able to do a lot of work as a plus size model. I was able to be in New York for New York Fashion Week in September, and I modeled swimsuits actually. So that was a
mm,
really amazing opportunity. Um, and have done just a lot of work with different brands, some really big brands here in the United States.
mm,
But it's just, there's definitely in the United States, at least, that representation in the modeling industry. And I think, the world will follow. I think that there'll be more representation
mm,
worldwide as, time goes on.
right. Okay. That's fantastic indeed. I just realized. So, mind you, if I just take a few seconds to explain to Thai fans.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
right คื
Yeah.
ออย่างนี้นะครับถามคุณเอมม่านะเพราะคุณเอมม่าเนี่ยนอกจากเป็นนักศึกษาทางด้านกฎหมายนะครับที่ North Illinois มหาลัยนะคะคือคุณเอมม่าเนี่ยทำงานเป็นนางแบบ plus size ก็เลยถามว่าอยากจะรู้นิดนึงว่าเยอะงานเนี่ยที่นู่นเนี่ยเยอะไหมแล้วperspective คนก็มองยังไงและที่สำคัญก็คือว่าความยากง่ายของงานเนี่ย represent อะไรไงปรากฏว่าเขาก็ค่อนข้างแปลกใจเพราะว่า คุณเอมม่าบอกโอ้โหไม่อยากจะบอกเลยว่าเทรนด์นางงามสายอวบเนี่ยมันพุ่งแบบเอาไว้ง่ายงานเรียกไม่มีหยุดเลยงานมหาศาลมากคือคล้ายๆว่าเทรนด์มันคือคนพลัสไซส์มันเยอะขึ้นนะคะแล้วก็คุณเอมม่าบอกคุณเอมม่าอย่างเงี้ยคุณเอมม่างานนี่แบบไม่มีว่างนะจองตัวแล้วก็ไปเดินแบบที่นิวยอร์กแฟชั่นวีคนะจ๊ะ นิวยอร์กแฟชั่นวีคและที่สำคัญก็คืออะไรเดินชุดว่ายน้ำโอ้ my goodness คือเอ้ยไม่ไก่กานะไม่ไก่กาถามว่านางแบบบ้านเรานางแบบไทยจะไปเดินนิวยอร์กแฟชั่นวีคเนี่ยเอาแบบเอาไซส์แบบสเตอริโอไทป์เนี่ยยังยากใช่ไหมนี่คุณเอมม่าเดินแบบเป็นว่าเล่นน่ะเป็นที่ต้องการมากแต่คุณเอมม่าต้องการคล้ายๆว่าต้องการนำสิ่งเหล่านี้มา representation ในโลกของนางงาม คือให้มันให้เห็นความงามเนี่ยมีทุกมิตินึกออกไหมคะคือไม่ใช่แบบว่าเป็นแบบเหมือนแบบมันมีสแตนดาร์ดเดียวตั้งแต่โบราณนะนั่นก็คือเหตุผลหลักของคุณเอมม่านะคะก็ถึงบอกว่าแล้วคุณเอมม่าบอกว่ามันเป็นอินดัสทรีที่ใหญ่มากนะเสื้อผ้าของคน plus size อ่ะบอกว่าทุกแบรนด์นะคะของที่อเมริกาเนี่ยต้องมี plus size เป็นตลาดที่ใหญ่มากๆเพราะนั้นก็ไม่แปลกใจนะคะถ้าสมมุติว่าการที่คุณแอนชิลีเนี่ยได้รับเลือกแล้วก็ถ้ามีเหตุผลเกี่ยวกับเรื่องเสื้อผ้าของดีไซเนอร์อะไรอย่างเงี้ยที่จะทำตลาดนะคะก็ไม่แปลกนะอันนี้ไม่แปลกนะเพราะว่าเทรนด์โลกเนี่ยก็คือว่าตลาดนี้เป็นตลาดใหญ่มากแล้วบ้านเราอ่ะยังไม่มีใครแทบตลาด plus size model โอเคไหมครับเพราะฉะนั้นการที่คุณอัญชลีได้รับเลือกเนี่ยก็มันก็ส่งผลทางด้านมาร์เก็ตติ้งนะสำหรับดีไซเนอร์นะสำหรับดีไซเนอร์ที่อาจจะชอบคุณอัญชลีนะครับนะคือเพราะเทรนด์โลกเป็นอย่างนั้นนะของเราก็ตามเทรนด์โลกนั่นแหละนะครับโอเค so are you ready to take question
Absolutely.
okay good okay this question from Thai fans ขอบคุณมากนะคะคุณพีราดา what do you think about people saying that beauty pageant is all about beauty standard do you think competing in the beauty competitions would help break those standards
Absolutely. So that is definitely a common conversation in the United States and worldwide, that pageantry is all about our looks and it's about nothing else. But I hope that competing as a plus size woman that's totally not, meeting the regular beauty standards, I'm able to show that pageantry is so much more than these beauty standards, and that we can be confident in who we are, in whatever body that we have, and that it's so much more than what we look like. Because pageantry, we have to be great public speakers, we have to interview, we have to be intelligent, we have to know so many things. And fitting the standard of beauty is not, I don't believe, necessary in pageantry.
โอเคคุณพีรดาคงได้คำตอบไปแล้วนะครับเนาะคือบอกเลยนะจับไมค์ไม่ตายคุณเอมม่าเนี่ยไม่ตายไมค์นะสุดยอดถามเข้ามาเลยนะคะพร้อมตอบทุกคำถามนะพร้อมเคลียร์ทุกเรื่อง okay I mentioned to the fans that you is speaking okay so just throw all the question you can nail it all okay all right so Emma I wonder about this time Mrs. competition what new have you brought with you in the competition this time
I'm so sorry. There's an alarm going off. I'm going to go get it really quick, and I'm going to be right back, okay?
That's okay. Just give her some second. Okay.
Sorry, I apologize. Can you
That's
ask the
okay.
question one more time?
Yeah, that's okay. I asking you, what the new things that you brought in with you in this time, Miss Earth?
So I have gotten halfway through law school, and have learned a lot more about legislation and about how our laws kind of impact our daily lives. This is my platform. The first time I competed, but now I've just done a lot more work with it, and that is Legislate Change, which is encouraging people across the United States to contact their state and local representatives to vote in favor of these environmental protection bills and policies so that they can be enacted into law, because our legislation can do so much to help protect our world and protect our animals, protect our air, protect our land, and just really help combat climate change.
Mm,
There's so much that goes into regulation and law that
mm,
we have the ability to be implementing. And I
mm,
don't believe that our government or our politicians are taking it as seriously as they need to be, because sadly, I don't believe that they think it's a priority. And it
mm.
is, and it should be, because climate change is the number one problem facing our world and will, you know, someday be what possibly, ends our world. And we cannot take it lightly because it's so serious and something that we need to act on immediately. So, encouraging people everywhere to really advocate for our earth and say that we need to be doing more. And this is not just, it's right now specific to, laws in the United States, but this is something that needs to be brought worldwide. Laws everywhere need to be doing more, and world leaders everywhere need to be coming together and coming up with solutions. So hopefully, I would like to bring this internationally and say, and help encourage people across the world to encourage their world leaders in their state and national representatives to come together and come up with some climate solutions because it's so necessary.
Right. It's actually I think I'm quite not sure if I correct about environmental protection law have
Mm-hmm,
actually has initially mentioned since 1922 in Stockholm
mm-hmm,
Convention, but it
mm-hmm,
has not been brought into light at all until recently. And
mm-hmm,
also, I think it's very significant because I do believe that our health is the first and foremost. Okay, and also I perceive our health as a body which bridge between the law and human
mm-hmm,
rights. So
mm-hmm.
I would love to know your idea, or actually your intention, how broad or how detailed about your advocacy relating to environmental protection right, that you're going to advocate or to speak up in the contest.
So I have done a lot of research, and I think the biggest thing is that these laws are being presented to the legislation. They're being presented to the House and Senate, but the problem is that they only have about a 4% passing rate. So even though all of these laws, and it's not even so much what issue they are, any kind of environmental protection laws that are being presented, they don't have a high passing rate. So even though they're being shown to the representatives, they're being shown to the House, they're being shown to the Senate, they're saying, you know what, nope, we don't like it. We're not going to make it a law. And then it just goes away. So my hope is that more people can push their representatives and their legislators to vote yes on the law so that more are being enacted. And it's not that they're just being presented and then dying there, that they're actually moving forward and becoming laws, because we have representatives that are on the daily basis coming up with new ways to help protect the environment, but they're not making it past that stage of it actually becoming a law. And that is where, the work would actually be done, is once it becomes a law. That's where it would actually be able to make a difference. So it's more about just helping these environmental laws actually become laws.
Mm,
Um, I think, as far as personally what laws that I would like to see, I would really love to see more animal protection and wildlife conservation, as
mm,
well as a lot more seriousness taken on carbon emissions with large corporations, because corporations account for 70% of our carbon emission into the air. And that is a very high amount, and something that we definitely need to be doing more about in some capacity.
that's right. So I just was about to ask, what is your prime concern on a lot, actually a wide ranging of environmental problem in the world. But
Hmm.
you already mentioned that
Yeah.
yeah, you would love to, press your great effort to push like animal rights and also carbon monoxide emission. Okay,
Hmm.
that's very good because as far as I interview a lot of ladies, the advocacy just amazing. But I always touching on the law. Okay,
Hmm.
and now tonight I made the expert. Okay, so I would love to gain more knowledge from you. Okay, so when we when we promote any advocacy, either upcycling or chain of waste management sort of. There's still pollution anyway. From
Hmm.
enterprise, and also oil leak in the ocean as well.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So, um, based on law and based on your advocacy, um, how do you negotiate with those enterprise which actually held accountable for
Yes.
um, majority of damaged incurred by them, but mostly they tend to push the cost of like compensation or restoration on environment toward the customer or the
Hmm.
ordinary like us.
Hmm.
So, as you a law student, we're very passionate about environmental protection right law.
Hmm.
What your idea? How would you make them understand, and how would you overcome their resistance?
It is, like you said, a very difficult topic, and it's something that is very hard because these big corporations, their prime objective is to make money, and that's kind of what their first concern is going to be, is driving income for themselves, for their corporation. And so you can't for what's really difficult is you can't force someone to care. But with the environmental laws, it will help hold these people accountable and these corporations accountable, even if they don't care. And it will kind of force them to have some kind of regulation around what they're doing. And as far as driving the prices up, this is unfortunately a possibility, especially if we were to like implement a taxation law on dumping or on the carbon emission. It's a possibility. And something I actually discussed yesterday was an alternative to this tax could be just putting a maximum emission per year and not even making it about a tax. It would be an extreme law that definitely would be met with a lot of um, anger from these corporations because that's how they are producing. But just putting a maximum amount of or a cap on their carbon emission, for example, and making it illegal to pollute any more than that every year, that would be extreme, but it would be effective and potentially be able to counter that price increase. But then that comes with the issue of a demand, because if they're not able to produce as much because of this carbon emission, there's going to be an increase in price that way. So it's very difficult. And I really think if companies were able to get on board and care more, we would be of great benefit. But I think it takes so many people to make a difference, and it takes more than just one thing. Laws can only do so much. Individuals can only do so much. I really think it's about coming together and coming up with general solutions that can benefit everybody.
Right. So, quite many people mentioned to me that okay, it's just our human nature prefer some rewarding approach um, over punishing. So, as you always touching on this, so would you find it's true that even though we already, propose the enterprise or ordinary people about rewarding program, like when you throw out lesser waste. So you might probably got tax credit for to use for something else beneficial for you. So would it true that offer rewarding program would attract
Mhm.
or convince more people to protect environmental more?
Yes, I think that's a really good point, and people do tend to love having some kind of reward for doing something to whatever that's being asked of them, some form of reward or compensation. I think that's a great idea and something that, if was able to be implemented, would help um, encourage people to care. Even if they don't really care, they're getting the incentive. So I think
Mm,
that would be a great option. Um, and it could honestly be written into the law. So, when the law is introduced, having some kind of back benefit to the people that the laws going to be controlling or regulating, having that benefit included in the law so that they can see that, okay, this law is going to not be great for us in this aspect, but we're going to have a tax break at the end of the year, or we're going to have, I don't
mm,
know, a bonus at the end of the year or something.
mm,
But I think what it comes down to at the end of the day is that it's going to cost somebody more money, and that's
mm,
always hard for the government, that's hard for corporations. So
mm,
I think we need to just know that there's going to be more money that needs to be spent in some capacity to
mm,
make this change possible.
mm.
um, or alternatively is coming up
Yes.
with a completely new way that we produce energy. If we
Mm,
were able to make that a priority, that would be wonderful, because then we wouldn't have to worry about carbon emission and all of the fossil fuels that we're using, if we could up with a solution,
mm,
which could be implemented with laws if we were to just really focus hard and bring great minds together to come up with an alternate source of energy. But until that happens, we have to rely on what we can do to regulate what we have.
So, right, until those days come, in your dream, or
Right.
yeah, in your dream, what is your perfect source of energy that you think the best could be the best alternative to the fossil based energy?
I think if we could somehow use water, like used water, dirty water. I know that's unappealing to a lot of people, but that would be a great option. Um, but ultimately, something that's not going to put out toxic chemicals into the air, something that's going to be able to
Mm,
be recycled. Um, but I guess it's hard to know because I don't know what would work. I don't know what could work.
mm,
But the perfect source would be something that's not going to harm our world, something that we can reuse. Using the sun's energy is a great way, but then there's so much that goes into creating solar panels. Um, but harnessing the sun's energy is definitely a really good option if that was something that could be figured out. There's there's still so much research to be done, though, to see what could be a possibility for an alternate source of energy.
mm. So, I mean, I'm, telling you, I
Mhm.
have started to be like to be more seriously aware about environmental problem. Okay,
Yeah.
once I get close to a lot of Mrs. Beauty Queen, I got those naturally. Okay,
Hmm.
so um I wonder, um like you're also interested in animal rights. So, what
Hmm.
kind of issue related to animal rights that could be bridged to environmental issue. So someone couldn't imagine or couldn't be, stretched to those points. So might you explain a little bit more?
Yeah, so we see every day new animals going onto the endangered species list or animals completely going extinct. And I think this is so sad. We see the polar ice caps melting and polar bears and other animals slowly losing their habitat and losing their home. And this is directly linked to global warming and climate change because their environment is changing, because our world is changing. And if we don't do something about our world changing, all of these animals are going to slowly but surely lose their habitat and lose their home. And they will die because of this. And this is heartbreaking to me. I've always loved animals, I've always cared for animals. And that protecting the world in general will help protect these animals. In addition to that, deforestation is taking away homes of so many animals in the rainforest to make room for cattle farming or to get lumber. All of this is taking away habitat for animals and ultimately is leaving all of these animals without a home and they're dying. And this is heartbreaking again. So having some kind of regulation to help make this stop um, because it's definitely heartbreaking.
Right. That's once we get into and environmentalism, we would realize that's like myriad problem
Hmm.
arose from um, environmental damage. So, if I would love you to prioritize, if you could turn to be policymaker or legislator, okay, yourself, if you could prioritize which problem about environmentalism that you probably brought up first and add it into the bill.
It would definitely be carbon emission. I think that we are producing so much toxic waste into our air, and that is contributing greatly to global warming, which is also contributing to these animals losing their homes, which is contributing to the sea levels rising. It all works in like a ripple effect. It's affecting so many things. So if we were able to control and decrease the carbon emission being put into the air, we will be able to tackle all of the other issues at the same time.
Mm,
So I really believe that carbon emissions and helping stop global warming is a
mm,
huge, huge, huge thing that we need to focus on.
right. That's why that's why we have like I think international summit which
Hmm.
solve or consult about the approach that's going to lessen carbon emission
Hmm.
to the affordable level and
Hmm.
lesser harmful to the population now today. But it's, I mean, um, what you gonna do if you got power to arouse most of population in the world to to be convinced by your message because we live in the same world, right? But
Hmm.
we living under different legal system. Uh-huh.
Right.
And I think still many country wouldn't aware or even wouldn't have environmentalism based um, beer. Uh-huh.
Hmm.
So that's why they just, the enterprise just migrate, okay,
Hmm.
from the developing country and
Yes.
then to invest to the lesser developing country and still
Hmm.
emit carbon monoxide and pollution. Uh-huh.
Yes.
And they
That's.
still, I mean, has a leeway for what they for all the damage they made. So I
Hmm.
mean, as if you got a power, okay, if you got a very big voice on the global scale, how would you bring or how would you propose the solutions as a global scale, as an overview, okay,
Hmm.
like like the worldwide span.
Yes, I think that's such a good and important point that companies, yes, they can just move to less
Yeah.
developed countries that wouldn't have the law. That's definitely a concern because it's totally something that would probably happen. So it would be my hope if I had that amount of influence to tell these countries that this is a global problem. This is something we all need to care about because it affects each and every one of us every day. This is not limited to the United States, not limited to Thailand, not limited to any single country. This is something that affects all of us equally, and we're
Mm,
not separated by our countries. We are
mm,
all feeling the effects of climate change and global warming, and we all will eventually be impacted by it. Even if we don't feel like we're impacted by it today, we will be impacted by it at some point, and our world will continue to change. And these countries that might not see it as important, those countries will change as climate change progresses, as global warming progresses. They will feel the effects of it, and we don't want it to be too late by the time that we notice it. We want to take action before it's too late. So, really, just saying that this is something that we will all feel the effect of, and that it's so much more than just a single country issue, as type like across the world individually. We all need to be unified on this because it's that important and it's a worldwide issue, not just
mm,
subject to one country.
that's yeah, that's true. I totally agree. And Emma, would you would you ever imagine that we one day, probably not so far, okay, might be good, to the extreme, like implemented one world law on environmentalism. I mean, sort of imposed, by nature.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what nationality of your corporation would be. Okay.
Hmm.
No matter how big you are, and it doesn't matter how resource you have, and
Yeah.
how much money you can pay. But you need to conform to the same law, as a global
Hmm.
scale. Or would you imagine that we could be approaching to that point so soon?
So my first initial thought is that we don't have that authority, that international authority. There's no one person or one thing that could say, okay, this has to apply to every country. Like there's no one with that power because we don't have like a single like world leader. We have country leaders. So I think it would be more about like United Nations, all world leaders everywhere would have to come to an agreement
Mm,
um, that they were going to implement it in all of their own countries. Or at like the climate summit, they would all have to agree together. So I think it's possible in that capacity if every, leader across the world were to get on board
mm,
and agree together that they were going to implement this law or implement this change. But it wouldn't, as our world is today, there's not a single person that could just
mm,
enact like one huge law. It would have to be all of the countries kind of coming together and agreeing to do it. But I think it's possible. They would just need to all see it as an equally important issue to themselves and see that, coming together is more important than staying separated.
mm. Okay. Mind you, I would translate this crucial point. Okay, just a few seconds. Okay, คืออย่างนี้นะครับโก้เนี่ยได้คุยเนาะกับคุณเอมม่านะครับเกี่ยวกับเหมือนว่า แกเป็นนักกฎหมายเนาะแล้วแกก็ advocate เรื่องเนี้ยมาครั้งเนี้ยคือ advocate เรื่องเนี้ยโดยเฉพาะเลยเรื่องกฎหมายด้านprotection นะสิ่งแวดล้อมตอนนี้เนี่ยก็ได้ถามแกก็สนใจหลายเรื่องตั้งแต่เอ่อการปล่อยก๊าซเรือนกระจกนะก๊าซคาร์บอนไดออกไซด์เนาะ global warming ใช่ไหมแล้วก็คือสิทธิของสัตว์นะคะแล้วก็การตัดไม้ทำลายป่าตรงนี้นะคราวนี้เนี่ยก็ได้ถามแกว่าแล้วถ้าให้มิน่าแล้วจะต้องเลือกจริงๆอ่ะ policy เนี่ยจะเลือกแก้ปัญหาอะไรก่อนสำคัญเขาบอกเรื่องการปล่อยก๊าซคาร์บอนไดออกไซด์เขาบอกมันเป็นปัญหาใหญ่มากๆเลยเพราะว่าคือเขาอยากให้ทั้งโลกมันเป็นปัญหาทั้งโลกเพราะเราอยู่ในโลกเดียวกันเขาอยากให้ทุกคนน่ะตระหนักปัญหามันคือว่าพอก็พูดพอยคือว่าคือบริษัทใหญ่เนี่ยพอเวลาสมมุติว่าเจออยู่ในบริษัทประเทศที่เจริญแล้วใช่ไหมครับเขาจะมีกฎหมายที่บังคับใช้ค่อนข้างแข็งแรงไม่ว่าจะค่าปรับค่าอะไรพวกนี้คอสมันก็สูงเขาก็ move ไปประเทศที่ด้อยพัฒนากว่าใช่ไหมไปตั้งถิ่นฐานการผลิตอะไรอย่างเงี้ยลดคอสใช่ไหมแล้วก็ไปปล่อยพิษเหมือนเดิมซึ่งมันก็อยู่ในโลกไปเดียวกันคราวนี้ก็เลยบอกมันต้องถึงขั้นที่แบบวันหนึ่งไหมที่ทั้งโลกอ่ะกฎหมายด้านสิ่งแวดล้อมอ่ะใช้ฉบับเดียวเลยคือไม่ต้องสนใจว่าไอ้บริษัทเนี่ยมาจากประเทศอะไรจะรวยไหมมีเงินจ่ายค่าปรับไหมไม่ต้องก็คืออันเดียวกันไปเลยเพราะว่าคือมันต้องแชร์กันเขาบอกก็อยากให้ถึงนั้นแต่ว่าเอ่อในความเป็นจริงอ่ะก็คือว่ามันถ้าถึงอย่างนั้นมันอาจจะยังทำไม่ได้นะคะเพราะว่ามันไม่มีใครแบบเหมือนเป็นหัวเรือใหญ่ที่มันคุมทั้งโลกไงก็คือมันเป็นแต่ละประเทศเขาบอกว่าก็ต้องผ่านแบบUN อะไรอย่างเงี้ยนะเหมือนที่ทำอยู่แต่ว่าให้มันวิจิแลนต์มากกว่าเดิมอะไรเงี้ยก็คือแข่งขันประเทศผู้นำต่างๆเนาะก็มาหารือกันแล้วก็คือบังคับใช้นะครับอันนี้นะอันนี้เขาก็ให้ความคิดเห็นนะครับอันนี้เป็นเรื่องสำคัญนะครับที่เขามองแล้วก็เรื่องสัตว์นะเขาเป็นคนรักสัตว์มากเขาก็เลยมองว่าถ้าตัดไม้ทำลายป่าสัตว์ก็ไม่มีที่พักอาศัยก็เหมือนไปริดรอนสิทธิของสัตว์นะครับสัตว์ก็ตายได้ไม่มีสัตว์ป่าใช่ไหมคือตรงเนี้ยคุณเอมม่าเนี่ยเขาพูดถึงตรงนี้ด้วยนะหลายๆอย่างนะครับอันนี้เป็นพอยที่อยากให้เราเนาะซึ่งเราอยู่ในเอเชียนะคือเราบางคนเนี่ยเริ่มตระหนักแหละแต่ถามว่าแน่นอนไอ้เรื่องกฎหมายอะไรของเรายังไม่ไปถึงตรงเขาเนาะแต่ว่าเราก็รับสารพิษอยู่แล้วคราวนี้มาฟังคุณเอมม่าเนี่ยมันก็จะให้เรามีความตระหนักรู้มากขึ้นนะครับเอมม่าif you okay if you are on the stage now and you got to speak up okay and get a point so what kind of message that you would like to relay
It would depend on the question, but if I was on stage right now, I would want to relay that all women and all people deserve to feel confident in themselves and that they are beautiful in their own skin and that all of the societal pressures and expectations and norms are something that we can challenge by just loving ourselves and showing that by loving ourselves, we are enough and that we are not going to give the power to other people and that it all lives and lies within us. And in addition to that, the importance of legislation and the importance of caring for our world, because this is the only world that we have. And it is all of our duty to be protecting it and be doing our best to implement change and try to, create a more sustainable world for not only ourselves, but our future generations, because our actions today will impact the people that come after us, and that it's more than just about us, but it's about our world as a whole.
I'm going to touch on your advocacy about body positivity, okay? And also, before we go on, I would love to brought one comment from another Thai. She is a very famous cooker, a chef, okay?
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is a celebrity chef in Thailand,
Wow.
and
Cool.
she is my fans. Her name is คุณนวลจันทร์ทรงวาด I call her in short เชฟนวล okay um, she um, she cook she cook for me okay had
Cool.
I had one dinner with her and
Mhm.
just fantastic sublime her food just
Oh, amazing.
okay she said that she would love to be um, your support and my support as well and I doing well and you doing well okay and she wished that both of us will be will be
Thank you.
prospering okay and she said thank you so much
Thank you.
okay it's quite new in Thailand about plus size model
Mhm.
or plus size appreciation okay in
Mhm.
pageant so it's a bit of shock I can tell you
Yes.
it's a bit of shock here and especially recently in another world level beauty contest we sent our representative which has quite distinctive size from other stereotype. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Her message is good, but it wasn't well received,
Mhm.
staged, and that's caused us. Um, that's caused us highly. Uh-huh. We were not places. Okay, we were not placed. So,
Mhm.
but when she got home, she got backlashed a lot
Mhm.
about physicality. hmm And I mean, definitely it's bigger, okay? It's changed. It's bigger than she was before
Mhm.
traveling to contest. Even though she's strong, but she also hurtful as well. So from your own experience, you admitted you are a plus size. Okay. In Thailand, we rarely we rarely use these words because
Yeah.
it seemed to be like a kind of bullying. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
So we divert to use like real side,
Mhm.
real side beauty sort of. But
Yeah.
okay, so it's quite very resemblant anyway. So I think
Mhm.
you can share your experience and you can give your ideas that how Thai especially would would have other perspective on real side performance. Okay, on real side beauty, sort of. So now she still got backlash. Okay,
Mhm.
so you passed that point and you succeed. Okay, as a top 12.
Mhm.
So what kind of message that you would like to educate
So
to
yeah, I definitely received my fair share of backlash as well. I think every time that you challenge a stereotype, you're going to be met with backlash in some way because it's different. You're being different. You're doing something different. And even if your title holder in the Thailand wasn't received well in the Thailand or in Thailand, in the United States, there were so many people sharing her and supportive of her. So I think that we have to remember that we're able to make an impact everywhere. And even if we get a lot of negativity coming toward us or a lot of bullying or a lot of shaming from certain people or a certain area, that's not true everywhere. I got so many negative comments after advancing to the top 12 finals last year. And, at the same time, that I was getting those negative comments, I was also getting so many positive comments. So instead of focusing on all of the mean things that people were saying, I focused on the positive things people were saying because I knew that I was challenging a stereotype. I knew that I was different, and I knew that, I couldn't make everybody happy. But I think having that representation is so important. And, you know, I think it's worth it to make this statement, even if I'm receiving those negative things being said about me. And you're sure be an ally, not a bully. I think is so important. It's such an important message because, people probably bullied Miss Thailand thinking that she wouldn't see it, but we do see it. We're all people. And I'm sure people said things about me that they didn't think I would see. But I do see it. And I think that we need to realize that people, when we're speaking negatively about them, even if it's on just social media, that it can still hurt. People still see it. And that being positive it makes such a bigger impact in the world than, spreading negativity. And spreading love is going to be just so much more powerful than spreading hate and anger.
Right. So, what about people still rate one success according to like title? And when one wouldn't get the title back home, they like being treated like the gravest fiasco. Uh-huh. So, might you counter those misconceptions? How should we rate one's success according to what they undertake?
I really believe our success needs to be measured by the impact and the difference we were able to make. In pageantry, it's not about a crown or a title or a sash, but it's the way that we use our voice and the way that we've changed the world in some capacity. Because we're going to be remembered for so much more than just the crown that we won. We're going to be remembered for our impact and how we made people feel, because you can win a title and not do anything with it. And yes, you had a crown and a sash, but if you didn't do anything, then you won't be remembered for making that difference. So I think that our success needs to be measured not by winning, but by what we can do and the impact that we can make and the difference that we can make.
Mm. And also, I would love to know idea about the habit. Okay, the eating habit, because a lot of people believe that plus size beauty queens, okay, tend to have different eating habits. That's
Mm-hmm.
that brought more weight to
Mm-hmm.
to physicality. So that's I got you here. I would love to if you don't mind, I would love
Mm.
you to review like your your eating,
Yeah.
itinerary, a daily sort of, so people would
Mm-hmm.
understand that essentially you eat healthy, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
your natural to become this form. So mind
Mm-hmm.
you, please.
Yeah. So I on a daily basis do a mixture of fruit. Make a smoothie bowl with fresh fruit on top, and granola. And then I eat chicken for the most part, and broccoli, carrots, green beans, Brussels sprouts. I love to cook. And then sometimes some potato with it. I eat a lot of just chicken, rice, and vegetables. I actually have stomach issues, so I can't eat any greasy food. I can't eat a lot of like processed food because it makes me sick. So I have to eat a lot of very clean, fresh foods, so I don't get sick. Um, and yeah, this is definitely a misconception because people have the assumption that someone that's my size would not eat healthy, but I have to eat healthy, not only, just to keep my body healthy, but just my body doesn't process greasy food, fried food, fatty foods. My stomach can't process it very well at all. So I really don't eat those foods ever because I can't. Um, and uh, I love to just incorporate healthy meals and snacks. I really don't actually eat even snacks. I mostly just eat my main meals of the day, and if I do have a snack, it's a fruit, some nuts. But yes, I think that's really important to bring up because so many people, yeah, believe that if you're plus size, you must eat all the time and sit on the couch or whatever. But I'm constantly moving, I'm constantly exercising and maintaining a healthy diet.
Wow. Typically, as far as I listen to you, you're pretty health concerned. I mean, your
Hmm.
diet is very high quality. I mean, anyway, do you normally go to gym or get yourself exercise regularly?
Yes, I exercise about 5 times a week.
Mhm.
Um, with different, I do a lot of like walking cardio type, as well as a lot of like weight training. I really like doing different kinds of weight training and like hit workouts, so like high intensity workouts at home. Just because of COVID, I don't actually physically leave and go to the gym because you have to wear a mask at the gym, and I just prefer to do it at my house without a mask, because it's just easier to work out that way for me. But I have my like own home gym and home weights and such.
Okay, so um, you already explained and encouraging, give a very big encouraging message to our representative. So I think it's fair enough, and it would be very very inspirational and uplifting if if you wouldn't mind. I would love you to to encourage her specifically. Okay, her name is and Chile Scott Chemist, okay, Miss Thailand that you mentioned, okay, in Miss Universe, because I really impacted by your message indeed that you see her, she made an impact, even though she didn't win,
Hmm.
she placed, um, she was bullied, uh, so I mean she's still human. So I
Hmm.
think I would love you to share your human message, okay, and get her uplift by
Yeah,
by saying straight away to her, okay.
yeah.
Definitely, she will get the message. Surely, her name is Angeli Scott Kim.
Anjali,
Angeli Scott.
Anjali.
Yes, she is Miss Universe Thailand, and she advocates for real side beauty, which is actually
Hmm.
plus size. Okay, comparable to other stereotype beauty
Hmm.
queen in the contest.
So, Anjali, Miss Universe Thailand, you have made such an impact internationally. And please do not listen to all of the negativity you have received. You have truly changed pageantry, and you stepped on the Miss Universe stage. And that is such an accomplishment and something that I myself had dreamed of doing. And I'm so thankful to be in the Miss Earth organization. But your ability to go to Miss Universe and be the representation for curvy and plus size women everywhere, that changed so many people. It was talked about so much in the United States. And I had people messaging me all the time, sending me your posts and saying, you see, they crowned a curvy person in Thailand and she's going to Miss Universe. And I was seeing that all the time. I was sharing your posts, and I was cheering for you all the way. And so were so many people. So even if you did receive negativity, I've also received so much negativity. Just do not let it bring you down because you are changing the world, and being a world changer is not always met with positivity. There's a lot of negativity from people that don't want to see the change, but you're being the change. We are being the change, and we're making an impact that is so much more than winning the title. And it is paving the way for more women that are like us, that are like you, to participate in pageantry and feel like they have a voice and that they deserve to be on stage just like you were. So thank you. Thank you for being that representation because it was everything to so many people.
You're so sweet. Oh, it's heavenly to receive such a kind message to our representative. Somehow, even though she failed to make a cut, but she's still proud of her. Okay, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, mind you, if I take just 1 minute to translate, because it's so
Mm-hmm.
sentimental. Okay, so sweet.คืออย่างนี้นะครับ คุณเอมม่าน่ารักมากนะครับก็ทัชในเรื่อง body positivity นะก็พูดนะถึงเรื่องตัวแทนของเราที่ไปแข่งเนาะก็คือสร้างความฮือฮาคือพอไปแล้วก็ไม่ได้ประสบความสำเร็จไม่ได้มงไม่ได้กลับมาแล้วก็คือแบบก็คือโดนหนักอะเนาะคราวนี้ก็เลยให้เขาให้ความเห็นว่าเนี่ยทำยังไงที่ว่าคนส่วนใหญ่หรือในโลกของการประกวดเนี่ยคือเขามองความสำเร็จกันที่มง กับตำแหน่งเท่านั้นขอกำลังใจหรือความคิดเห็นของทางคุณเอมม่านะคุณเอมม่าบอกว่าอยากให้มองอย่างนี้นะการประกวดเนี่ยนางงามเนี่ยมันไม่ได้วัดกันแค่นั้นไม่ได้วัดกันแค่มงแค่อะไรมันวัดกันที่ impact มันวัดกันที่ influence นะครับที่จะสร้างให้กับโลกนะครับคือเขาบอกว่าเนี่ยสิ่งที่คุณแอนเชลีเนี่ยได้ทำนะคะเป็นฐานะตัวแทนประเทศไทยใน Miss Universe เนี่ยเป็นที่โด่งดังมากเป็นที่กล่าวถึงมากในอเมริกาคือด้วยความที่มีคน plus size เยอะมากเป็นตลาดใหญ่เยอะมากคือเขามีความรู้สึกว่าคุณอัญชลีเนี่ยเป็นตัวแทนของคน plus size ทั้งโลกไม่ใช่แค่ Miss Thailand คือเขาทุกคนพูดถึงมันเป็น impact คือเขาแบบคือขอให้มันเกิดขึ้นขอให้แบบคือเธอมาแล้วเธอจะพลิกปัตตภีคือแบบเปิดทางให้กับผู้หญิงพัสไซทั้งโลกคุณแอนชิลีนี่นะครับนี่คือหมายถึงว่าเขาชื่นชมคุณแอนชิลีมากนะอ่าฮะคือตรงนี้นะครับคุณเอมม่าก็เลยบอกนะครับคุณเอมม่าก็บอกว่าตะกี้คุณเอมม่าก็ขอส่งกำลังใจให้คุณแอนชิลีด้วยนะครับว่าขอให้เดินหน้าต่อไปนะก็ขอให้เป็นกำลังใจให้ถึงแม้ว่าเมสเซจเนี่ยของคุณแอนชิลีเนี่ยอาจจะไม่ได้รับตำแหน่งนะแต่ทุกคนรับรู้ในโลกนี้นะครับคุณเอมม่าก็เลยบอกกล่าวอย่างนี้เนาะคือดีมากๆเลยนะเดี๋ยวยังไงเดี๋ยวถ้าตัดคลิปแล้วก็โพสต์ลงเนาะแล้วทุกคนจะซึ้งมากเลยนะคะ so okay we're going to toward the end and some fans just sent love to you this is Mark from Philippines and
Thank
also
you.
yes Alfredo hello Emma love from Philippines and
Thank
also
you.
Aaron from Indonesia so beautiful world class definitely
Thank you.
so lastly what would you love to say to all the fans and especially what objective that you would love to make if you're going to be Miss Earth USA and even you step forward to be Miss Earth.
So, my message is, of course, to advocate for a world, advocate for climate justice, and help combat climate change as part of the Miss Earth organization, but also that all women deserve to feel beautiful and confident in their skin, and that whether you're involved in beauty pageants or you're just getting the confidence to go to the beach in a swimsuit for the first time, that we all deserve to love ourselves, and that as long as we're healthy, we're taking care of ourselves, and we're living an active lifestyle, that we are so much more than the number on the scale or our measurements, and that we can love ourselves the way that we are. And having this be represented in pageantry is all that I ever wanted to do, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity and really would hope to just spread this message even more if given the opportunity to be Miss Earth USA.
So before we go and before I close the program, mind you to promote my channel and my platform.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everyone, please make sure you follow our beautiful admin co at KP1 Worldwide. This is such an amazing pageant resource and resource for interviews. And so thankful for the opportunity. Also on Instagram at CoPHANS or NASA and on Twitter at KP1 Worldwide as well. So make sure you're all following. This is such a great resource for you all. And, the amazing opportunity for me to be here today was all thanks to Co. So I'm so thankful.
Thank you indeed, Emma. I appreciate that you visit my program. I couldn't, be happier. Please, all the fans, after a lot of joy that we received tonight, please follow Emma Loney, Miss Oklahoma Earth 2021 in her Miss Earth USA pageant journey, which will be finalized on the 8th January 2022. And also please follow her IG at Miss Oklahoma Earth. Okay, and you will find her post with a lot of nice posts, and also you will receive a kind message as well. And this the last comment from Thai fans, Kuntanapon, and he said, marvelous, you
Thank
marvelous.
you.
Okay,
Thank you.
I would love to thank you, Emma, indeed. That give me the opportunity to interview you. I would love to say here, I confess, you actually one of my most desirable beauty queen that I've been
Oh,
yes, actually, I
thank
always
you.
deep down quietly wishing for interviewing you. Okay, so when you reaching me, I couldn't believe that my dreams came true. Thank you indeed. Thank you.
I'm so thankful, and that means the world to me. That's so funny. You were the only person I actually messaged, so I was really it was meant to be, and I'm so glad that we were able to make it work out.
Well, thank you in this, and I will follow you and closely, Emma. And I wish you doing great. And definitely, you represent many citizens in the world. Okay, and I
Thank
wish
you.
that you're going to spread your advocacy the widest. Okay, and the
Thank
deepest.
you.
Okay, it's going to be well received in Thailand after tonight for sure.
Thank you. I hope so.
โอเค thank you indeed for all the fans ขอบคุณมากนะครับสำหรับแฟนๆที่ส่งคำถามเข้ามานะครับแล้วก็ขอบคุณทุกคนนะก็ขอให้ทุกคนรักกันนะครับแล้วก็รักคุณเอมม่าบัตโลนี่นะครับแล้วก็อย่าลืมเผื่อความปรารถนาดีของคุณเอมม่าแล้วก็ของเราด้วยถึงคุณแอนชิลีสกอตเคมิสนะครับให้กำลังใจกันเยอะๆนะครับขอบคุณมากนะครับ thank you for all the fans for tonight and see me for the next episode okay it's going to be a wonderful one as usual okay have a good night thank you ขอบคุณมากครับสลามัดโป